Hey you guys, it is I, your very own AMARU, and I'd like to welcome you to a very special tribute episode of Food and the Single Guy. I will explain in a minute, but before we get on with the actual episode, I have to give you a couple of church announcements. Regarding my health, I am on the mend. Some of you have expressed your concern in private messages and otherwise. I'm doing okay. My eye is still a little, I'm not sure if you can see this, but it's still a little disheveled looking, but I'm on the mend. I have to go back to the hospital in about a couple of weeks, and then they'll inject something into my eyeball yet again, causing me a lot of heartache and grief, but I will be fine, God willing. I do see some minor improvements, so I'm hopeful. Now, secondly, what I want to share with you is that yesterday I have published and released my second book. Oh yes, Stephen King, I am not, okay, but I am AMARU, and it turned out so beautifully, you guys, and I'm so proud of it. I am very proud to put this on my coffee table, and I'm sure you will too, because you're my people and you can handle it. So let me share with you what it looks like. The book comes in a very stylish, very beautiful, decorative box. This is what it looks like. Doesn't it look gorgeous? It looks gorgeous, honey. It looks gorgeous. Yes, it does. So this is what the decorative box looks like. So you can put this on your coffee table on display for everybody. And if anything, it will definitely be a conversation starter, an icebreaker. Yeah. So this is what the contents looks like. All right, so your book comes in this very stylish box. Let me get the actual book out. Hang one. This is what the book looks like. It is called Fiercely Independent, The Stories Behind the Music. Okay? Now, the title Fiercely Independent comes from an interview that I did for an Australian publication, I think last year or a year and a half ago, in which they described me as fiercely independent. Now, you know that I'm an independent recording artist and a member of the Grammy Awards, and I don't have a manager, I don't have an agent, I don't have anybody, I do everything myself. So when this Australian publication did their homework, they did their digging on me to do the piece, they figured, oh my gosh, this man does everything by himself. So they labeled me Fiercely Independent, and I thought, that is a very befitting title for my new book. So hence, yes. And of course, I used the picture of the Gentle Giant photo shoot. And the reason I decided to select this picture is because with the Gentle Giant music video, I wanted to make a statement. Because everybody is who they are. I am who I am. I cannot change who I am, at least not physically for the greater part. I mean, I can lose weight, I can gain weight, but that's as far as it goes. But personality-wise, I am who I am. And on the outside, I look the way I look because that is the way the universe intended it, okay? And I'm not going to change that. I cannot change that. And I refuse to conform to what people think is presentable. You know, I am who I am, I wear what I want to wear, and what I look like on the outside doesn't necessarily mean that that's what I look like on the inside, and that is the statement that I made with Gentle Giant. So I decided to select this picture for the cover of this book because this picture to me exudes confidence, it exudes sexuality, it exudes masculinity, vulnerability, and self-esteem, you know what I mean? Self-love, self-care. That is why I selected this picture for the book, okay? All right, now let's get on to the meat and potatoes of this episode, because on this episode, I'm gonna be making bread, and it is a tribute to my late grandmother. I'm her first grandchild, and of course she spoiled me rotten. She spoiled me rotten, I can't even speak because the bread was so good. I'm gonna be making bread, you guys. So grandma, one of her ways of making a living was making bread, and she did it very, very well. I have very vivid memories of my grandmother. Like I said, I'm her first grandchild, and one of our I don't want to say rituals because it sounds so occultish, But one of her things was she would wake up in the morning, go downstairs, prepare the dough, set it to one side to rise, and then when it was time for the buns to go into the oven, she would come upstairs, wake me up, shower me, brush my teeth and everything, and then the first couple of buns that would come out of the oven, the first one was ours, okay? That was our thing. She would get it out of the oven, she would slice it open, put a thin layer of butter on top of the warm bread, very soft, warm bread, and then she would either coat it with some cheese or some of her homemade peanut butter, which was legendary. Meanwhile, the tea leaves are steeping in the aluminum pot on her Etna stove. That is the name of the brand, Etna, E-T-N-A. On her stove, it was a white stove, the tea leaves were steeping, and while we were eating the bread, she was sifting the tea and then adding the milk and the sugar. And I would be sitting there on her kitchen countertop in my pajamas. It was a black kitchen countertop, by the way, granite, yes. And I would be sitting there having bread with cheese or bread with peanut butter and drinking tea with milk and sugar with Nana. Yes. That is one of the many, many, many vivid memories that I still have of my grandmother. And those of you that follow my music, you will know that I have dedicated a song, I've written a song in honor of my grandmother, because next to my mother and my favorite aunt, my grandmother meant the world to me. She's one of the 3 most important women in my life. So why this is such a special tribute episode is that on the 21st of October, today, had she been alive, she would have been 100 years old. So I figured one of the things that she did for a living was making bread. I am going to make bread myself in honor of her. So I'm honoring her legacy with this special episode of Food and the Single Guy, and I hope you will appreciate it. So without further ado, I'm going to post all the ingredients for you in the information box below the video. It's a very basic, a very simple recipe for bread making. You can do it. It's not going to fail. I'm going to list everything for you below. So without further ado, let us continue. Okay, you guys, so let's get started. I am now going to sift my flour, and I don't think I have to explain to you how to sift flour. And the amount of flour that I'm using is about 500 grams. Alright, so now we're going to sift the flour ever so gently. Alright, so next what I'm going to add is my yeast, and what I have here is some instant yeast. But if you're going to use a different kind of leavener that needs to be diluted in water, follow the instructions on the packet. This one, you simply have to add it to the flour, just like so. Next, what I'm going to add is about a teaspoon of salt, just like so. Maybe just a little bit more, just a little bit more, maybe a teaspoon and a half. All right, that'll do. So next we're gonna mix the dry ingredients, just like so. And this is gonna be a special tribute video to my grandmother, as I said earlier, because this was one of the many ways that my grandmother made her money. Alright, she was a self-made woman, and her bread was legendary in the neighborhood. Yes, it was. So now what I'm going to add, I'm going to make a little well in the center right here. I am now going to add the melted butter, like so. Right? And the lukewarm water. And now we're gonna get our hands really dirty. Oh boy. Now those of you that have been with me since day one, you know that this is my least favorite part in, the whole process. When it comes to kneading dough, this is not what I like to do. I don't like to get my hands dirty, but we're gonna make a special tribute video in honor of my late grandmother, so I'm not gonna bitch and complain about it. Because my grandmother never bitched and complained. She simply did it. So she can do it, I can do it. All right. So next what I'm going to do, I'm going to continue to knead this dough for about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to come back to show you what it looks like. All right. So as you can see, I have transferred my dough to my dough mat because it makes for easier kneading on a flat surface. And you really want to put some elbow grease into this, you guys. Or you can get out your food processor and, you know, the one with the dough hooks, and go ahead and do it that way. But, you know, it's only a small amount of dough, so I'm not gonna take out my KitchenAid to knead this dough. Simply gonna do it by hand, because back in the day my grandmother didn't have, you know, the luxury of a KitchenAid. She simply used her bare hands. All right? Yeah, all right. Okay, you guys, so I've been kneading for about 10 minutes, and this is what my dough looks like. We are now going to put the dough in a lightly greased bowl, just like so. And next we're gonna cover it until the dough has doubled in size. Just like so. And you wanna keep this in a warm place, all right? Okay, you guys, so it's been about a little over an hour. Let's have a look at our dough. Ooh, baby. As you can see, it has almost doubled in size. So what I'm gonna do next, I am going to remove the dough from the bowl, and I'm gonna put it back on my dough mat, just like this. And it's very soft, you guys. Wow. And next we're going to knock all the gas out of the dough, just like so. All right. Upon which we are going to knead it again for about 3 to 5 minutes. All right. Just like so. Nothing to it. Alright, you guys, so my dough is looking great. What I'm gonna do next, I am going to weigh this dough. As you can see, it weighs about 791 grams. So I think I'm gonna make about 8 rolls, and that's about 100 grams a piece. Alright, so let me go ahead and do that. We are going to cut the dough with my dough knife. Yes, I'm gonna cut it in half, just like so. So this is what I'm talking about. These dough balls are roughly 100 grams a piece. So next what I'm gonna do, I am simply going to shape the dough balls, right? Just like so. And then next what you're gonna do, you're going to take the ends and fold them in, just like this. All right, there you have it. So let me go ahead and finish doing the rest, and I will show you what to do next. And there you have it, you guys. My dough balls are nicely shaped. I am now going to pop this baking tray into a plastic bag, and I'm going to allow the dough to rise for about another half an hour. All right? And we're going to set this to one side in a warm place yet again. There we go. Okay, you guys, so it's been about 45 minutes. Let's have a look at our dough balls. As you can see, they have risen a little bit more, and they are now touching. And these are about ready to be baked in the oven. But before we do that, we are going to glaze them with a little bit of melted butter. You don't have to do this. This is optional. You can also use some olive oil or another type of oil of your choice. And you're simply going to add a touch of butter onto the buns, right? Just like so. Here we go, the last one. So we are now going to bake these in a preheated oven for about 15 to 20 minutes at about 200 degrees C. And of course, when they're all done, I am going to show you what they look like. So it's been about 25 minutes. We are now ready to present to the world our baked goods. Don't they look gorgeous? Baby, and they smell delicious. So next, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna allow these to cool, and then I'm gonna separate them, and then I'm gonna cut into them to see and to show you how soft they really are. All right, so I'll see you in a few. Now, before we move on to the final presentation, get a load of my bread, you guys. Doesn't that look gorgeous? I can tell you that the bread was very soft. It was very delicious. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm very proud of myself. Now, let's move on to the actual final presentation. Get a load of these pictures. Don't my buns look gorgeous? That sounds ominous. But don't my buns look gorgeous? Oh yes, but they do. And like I said, they were absolutely to die for. I hope that I've done my grandmother's legacy justice. So grandmama, wherever you may be, I hope that you will have a very happy heavenly 100th birthday, and I hope that you're proud of me. Now, you guys, if you decide to try this recipe, let me know how it turned out, because I'm always interested in hearing from you. Before I sign off, don't forget to pick up your copy of my new book, Fiercely Independent: The Stories Behind the Music, a musical memoir by your very own AMARU. It is a beautiful coffee table book, and like I said, it comes in a very nice and very stylish decorative box, like so, which makes for perfect presentation on any coffee table. All right, you guys, I'm gonna say thank you for watching yet another episode of Food and the Single Guy, and until we meet again, you all be well, take care, happy cooking, happy eating, happy bread making, and until we meet again, you guys, bye.